So the next random number on my Guilty Pleasures marathon was Series 5. And my personal favourite from that one is The Lodger. Now, as I mentioned previously that I had reviewed the sequel to this episode, Closing Time, from 2011, but many people seem to regard The Lodger as the better of the two Corden episodes. I admit I kind of see it, and yeah, I do prefer The Lodger, but I don't think Closing Time is bad either. But The Lodger was first broadcast on the 12th of June 2010 and was written by Gareth Roberts. In this particular episode, the Doctor, played at this point by Matt Smith, is thrown out of the TARDIS, which suddenly takes off with Karen Gillan's Amy Pond still aboard, and the Doctor has to find some way to get them back. He ends up, in the meantime, renting a room from a man named Craig Owens, played by James Corden. Cool. Craig seems most like other guys. He seems comfortable where he is. He's trying to do the best he can at his job with the best of his football life, and also trying to tell his friend Sophie, played by Daisy Haggard, how he truly feels about her. And throw the Doctor in there, and things just get all kind of weird for it. Now, this was hardly James Corden's big acting break. I mean, in the current climate today, James Corden is an A-list star. I believe he's got a talk show over in America, and he also did a carpool program, which most people know him for. But over here in Britain, at least, this was hardly James Corden's big acting debut either. I feel most people knew him as the kind of wingman Smithy in the long-running sitcom Gavin and Stacey. Now, I admit I never saw Gavin and Stacey. Not that it probably wasn't a good show. I never watched it. It wasn't my kind of show. I just didn't watch it. But James Corden's Smithy grew to be quite popular. So yeah, I knew of James Corden coming into this episode, and I admit he does do a likable character. Now, the thing that makes Craig's kind of house different from everybody else, he seems like a normal guy. He's trying to get together with his girlfriend. He's trying to work out what he wants to be. The two things that make his place weird, though: one, he's got a very strange upstairs neighbour who seems to, throughout the episode, be luring people up to the flat, and two, a mysterious patch of mould or dry rot coming in through Craig's ceiling. To which, when the Doctor sees it, he's like, "I'll fix it, but just until then, don't touch it." And yeah, I admit the dynamic between Smith and Corden in this episode is a very enjoyable one. Just him kind of laughing at the Doctor's eccentricities, like, yeah, that would, like when the Doctor cooks him an omelette fairly early, I was like, that was absolutely brilliant. Where did you learn to cook? Paris in the 18th century. No, hang on there, that's not recent, is it? 17th? No, 20th. Sorry, keep getting those mixed up. I think I ever told you that you're a bit weird. They never really stop. I can relate with that. Also, this episode is kind of special from Matt Smith's perspective because in the middle of the episode you've got a big football match. Craig says to the Doctor that one of their players has had to drop out, and so asks him if he's available for a game in pub league. Pub league, a drinking competition. No, football. Football! Right, yes, I'm good at football, I think. Now, this is particularly special for Matt Smith, as apparently... Now, I've heard him say this in interviews, but I'm not entirely sure on the validity of this. But supposedly, when he was in school, he actually wanted to be a footballer, and he was actually pretty good. However, he suffered a back injury called something like spondylitis, or some other strange name, and apparently he just never fully recovered from it, so his teacher said, well, why don't you get into acting? And he did, and thus we get the 11th Doctor. So while Matt Smith never truly got to fulfill his destiny of becoming a footballer, he did manage to relive his glory days here in this episode, which is nice to see. I mean, you do feel like the Doctor was a bit of a dick in the football match, in that there are certain moments when Craig set up to do some big things, and then the Doctor suddenly sweeps in and takes over, and it's like, okay, Doctor, calm down a bit, you're stealing all the fun out of this. But then there's also a nice chemistry between James Corden and Daisy Haggard's characters. I mean, you know that they're going to get together in the end, but just it's like you see in real life or in some of those kind of comedy shows or movies that we've seen over the years, that the two best friends that you know are going to get together in the end, but just watching them kind of having to, well, spending each night kind of trying to get together, but then something always ends up coming up. Like first time they try to do it, Sophie gets called away by a friend of hers, thanks to an emergency. And then when they try to do so later, they turn off their phones like, okay, we're alone now, and then suddenly the doctor pops up. It's like, oh, hello, sorry, need to do some rewiring. It's like, come on! But then the kind of final, even when the doctor tries to convinces her that maybe she should kind of move away and work out what she truly wants to do, and Craig's kind of a little upset about this. Even just the end, when he's kind of got his hand on the doomsday button, kind of destroying the machine, is like, why don't you want to leave, Craig? Ah, that's Sophie! I don't want to leave Sophie. I can't leave Sophie. I love Sophie. I love you too, Craig, you idiot. And just the two of them, when they finally kiss, it's like, oh, come on, the world's about to blow. Just, for God's sake, kiss. And then when they finally do, it's just so fulfilling to see them together. So, yeah, I admit The Lodger possibly isn't the strongest episode ever, and I feel it's often overshadowed by the previous episode of Series 5, Vincent and the Doctor, which I personally think is okay, but it's a little overrated. That's just me. But I admit The Lodger is a guilty pleasure of mine. I like Closing Time, I love The Lodger, and you know what? It was my guilty pleasure pick for Series 5. Now, the next random number on my Guilty Pleasures Marathon, coming towards the end now, Series 1. Time to go all the way back to the start. And that's Aliens of London and World War 3. What do I think of those? Well, you just have to wait and see. Until then, Geronimo.